Hey, what's going on, and welcome to the Life Goes On podcast where we talk about wealth, life insurance, and everything entrepreneurship. I am your host, Will Z. Titwell, and I'm here with my lovely panel. And before I allow them to introduce themselves, I just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of a brief of what we're going to be discussing today. I want people to understand exactly what is life insurance. So many people are afraid of it. So many people don't understand it. So they just stay away from it. So my panel here today is going to help people understand what is life insurance, how do you go about obtaining life insurance, and why is it so important to have in our life, no matter how old you are or what you're dealing with in your life. So before we get into the episode, I just want to go left or right, ladies first. And does everybody introduce themselves, where you're from, and the name of your company?
Okay. I'm Kenya Higgins Burford with the Higgins Agency here in Memphis, Tennessee. Been in the industry over 23 years now, partnering with my brother on the other end, which is Jackie Higgins.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, yes, I'm Ron Mann. I am a area manager for Lincoln Heritage. I've been in the business here at Lincoln for 9 years.
Okay.
I'm Charles Howard of the C. Howard Group, Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I've been with Lincoln this month would make my 5th year.
All right.
Okay. And my name is Jackie Higgins. I'm with the Higgins Group. I've been with Lincoln Heritage for about 6 years this year.
Now, for the people out there that don't quite understand that, because they're hearing Lincoln Heritage, then they're also hearing your own individual companies. Mr. Mann, can you kind of help people understand like how that hierarchy of scale or that process or the umbrella system works so people at home can understand that?
Sure. First of all, when you join Lincoln Heritage, you are an agent.
Right.
Okay. Field underwriter sometimes is another name for us. And our job is to help families secure themselves with final wishes. Make sure that they're paid for, things go smoothly as possible.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Some people may decide to go into the management side.
Right.
And as a manager, you'll learn how to work with other agents and help them develop.
Right.
And then ultimately, you want to become what we call an MGA.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's a managing general agency. That's what all of us are here.
Got you.
Okay, I am an area manager. So my job is to help my MGAs and agents develop as well. So that's why you see an umbrella. I am the Ron Mann Group.
Yep.
Okay, up under the umbrella of the Ron Mann Group, we have the Higgins Agency, the C. Howard Agency, and hopefully we'll have others. So we teach people how to develop agencies as well as being an agent.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing about it. Is like, even though we're all under the same team, we're all under the same umbrella, we still have that opportunity to be independent and better own our own company, our own identity, our own brand, right? And still, be able to get mentored by the ones before us that are doing it at a high level. I think that's a really dope thing. Did anybody want to add on to that or add to that explanation or anything like that before we get into it?
You just explained it perfectly. What you just said.
Well said.
Good. Well, like you said, man, we hear this term life insurance all the time, right? You can't hardly say that you haven't at least heard it at one point in your life. But I think that when you think about life insurance, you automatically think about the death. You think about, having to lose your loved ones, maybe being hurt. And that scares a lot of people. But they never even take the time to truly understand what life insurance is and what it does and how it works. Cause somebody, maybe Mr. Jack or maybe you, Mr. Howard, just take a second to really explain in layman terms what is life insurance and how does that whole process work for people. Just in simple terms. Whoever want to start.
I say let's start that off with Mr. Mann, because the reason why I say that is because he just answered that same question this morning.
Okay. Perfectly. Go ahead, Ms. Mann.
Right. I think that we need to take a look at this type of business as franchises. Okay. And you can have more than one. If you bought a McDonald's franchise, they're going to encourage you to get more than one.
100%.
They're going to want you to have 2, 3, or 4 franchises, or as many as you want to handle.
Right.
And that's what Lincoln will allow you to do if that's what you want to do. You can have as many franchises. They may not have your name. We all carry the Lincoln name,
right.
Lincoln banner.
Right.
But as an individual, I have the ability to brand my business with whatever name that I want.
100%.
Symbols, signs, names, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you are independent, but you're up under the umbrella of the parent company, which is Lincoln Heritage.
Perfect example. Did anybody want to chime in on that or add to that percentage?
Well said.
Perfect. And in that life of life insurance, when somebody wants to learn more about that, or get their own policy, there are so many different types of policies and ways they can navigate within this world. Can you guys kind of let us know some of the ones you guys specialize in, and what are some of the differences in some of those policies, the main ones that you guys help your customers with day in, day out?
Right.
Actually, we only have one type.
Okay.
And that's whole life.
Okay.
Now, there's tons of other kinds of policies out there. But
what makes you guys want to focus on just that one? Like, why is that such a priority for you guys in particular company?
Great question. I was about to go there. We offer whole life insurance simply because we want to offer a product that has some value to it,
right?
Some teeth to it,
right?
And what whole life simply means is that if they live to be 199 years of age, as long as that premium has been paid, up to age 100,
right?
That policy will be there at age 199.
Yeah.
It does not cancel out, terminate like a term policy would. That's what whole life means. As well as this policy does build cash value for the policy owner.
Right.
Unlike a term policy.
Got you. So would you audit the top? Obviously you would. I know you're gonna say yes to this, but is there any other policy that you've ever suggested to somebody or had to help somebody with, or is it solely the one like, hey, this is what we're gonna go with regardless?
Well, that's all that Lincoln Heritage offers, whole life insurance. So I can't offer them anything else.
Even if I wanted to.
I wouldn't want to.
Miss King, we finna say something?
Well, we do free needs analysis and policy lookovers.
Yeah.
So if a client already has a policy, we're not there to deteriorate them or to determine them to say, hey, let's not use this policy and cancel that coverage. We're just there to explain the benefits that we offer and what stands us apart. As Mr. Howard stated, we do offer whole life and only whole life insurance. However, but we offer it with a benefit.
Yeah.
So that's what stands Lincoln Heritage aside from any other company that's out there. And that's what makes us the number one final expense company in the nation is that we have free funeral planning for our clients.
Yep.
So we're standing on an island all by ourselves.
Absolutely. It's so crazy. I think you're looking at my notes because I just wrote down the letters USP. Like outside of you guys being the only ones that offer this strictly, can you kind of give people more insight as to like how that whole funeral planning side works and how the benefits that come with that? Because the people need to understand that.
Sure. I'll start it off, and Mr. Mann and whoever else
can just chime on in
to come on in on it. But we offer, when the policy is written, they are offered a free membership with the Funeral Consumer Garden Society.
Yeah.
That company, which is our sister company to the parent company, they are they automatically kick in. They get to pre-plan everything for their funeral. So we're going to work for the beneficiary at the time of death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they get to say what color they want to wear, what funeral home they want to use, everything, so that the beneficiary now can have time to grieve and not have to be bared down with all the costs and being worried about, are they going to, is the funeral home going to try to take advantage of it?
Absolutely.
In that time of need.
Absolutely.
So those are the things that we do offer off top.
That's amazing.
The other thing I like to just kick in,
we'll go Mr. Jack
is that every policy that we write comes with this free benefit.
Yeah.
And so our clients get to sit in the privacy of their own home, along with their beneficiary if they like, and tell their loved ones from start to finish everything they want said and done, literally. And I'm reminded of one of my clients, and I share this with others. After I finished giving her the information of who we are and what we do, she looked at me and she said, Mr. Howard, she said, the Lord sent you here today. I said, really? She said, absolutely. She said, Mr. Howard, what you don't know is I was sitting right here where I'm sitting last night, and I prayed to the good Lord and asked him not to let happen to my children and grandchildren what happened to my family when our mother died. I said, what's that? She said, Mr. Howard, I seen the side of my family I never knew exist. She said it was so much cussing and fussing and arguing and going carryings on. She said, We even have one sister that doesn't even talk to the sister that was in charge, who was the primary beneficiary, all because what she wanted or suggested didn't get included in our mom's funeral.
Wow.
She said, Mr. Howard, I don't want that happen to my children and grandchildren. She said, I love this policy. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
She said, you know what I like most? I said, what's that? She said, even though I'll be dead and gone, because I got a policy with you, I'm still running things, Mr. Howard.
I'm still in charge, even when I'm not
still
here.
in charge.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Mr. J, you still want to chime in on that?
Yeah. Let me paint a picture for you. For the average person that is going through a grieving process.
Yeah.
Imagine you having to conduct business while grieving at the same time.
Right.
That's where Lincoln Heritage come in right there, because you need someone in your corner. You would love to have someone in your corner.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we are number one at what we do, is because, again, we give you a peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
People pay a lot of money for just a peace of mind and just peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
If you actually knew that my kids are going to be taken care of afterwards,
Yeah.
I can go ahead and rest.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do here at Lincoln Heritage. And I for sure would say this, that it warms my heart to even recognize that, see people really understanding that, because they see that hurt.
Yeah.
You see that hurt, and they know that feeling that they just buried their loved one, and then they got to negotiate for the funeral home.
Right.
And the funeral home is trying to take advantage.
And they can be some sharks sometimes.
Absolutely, because they're a business.
Absolutely.
People don't get that part of it.
Absolutely.
It's still a business.
Absolutely.
But that's where we come in and we're going to negotiate for it. We're going to take the business aspect out of it.
Yeah.
And then allow them to be agreed, because mama already took care of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know what you want.
Yeah.
You know what you want to wear, how the colors, everything.
Yeah.
They don't have to do that. They just show up and agree.
And just be able to get all that hurt out.
Absolutely.
100%. Mr. Manners, you want to chime on that before I went to the next question?
I think they
covered it pretty
well.
good. Good. And I think you kind of, not to be redundant, because you did kind of just answer this in a way, but I think we can go a little bit deeper in this, right? So if I was that person that was playing devil advocate, and I was saying, yeah, I don't really think life insurance is that important, right? I don't think that's something I need, or I don't see the value in it. Can you think of a time where it spoke for itself as to why life insurance is so important, whether that was a story, an experience, a success story with one of your clients? Like, why is it so important? And can you just help people understand on a deeper level, if that makes sense?
Well, life insurance is a tool.
Yeah.
It's just like a screwdriver. Okay, you got a flat head, you got a Phillip head.
Yeah.
You got different types of insurances to handle different types of needs.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we do in our needs analysis is we try to understand what their desires and needs are.
100%.
That will help us tremendously in developing the right tool for what their needs may be. Then we want to make sure that whatever tool that they're going to use will fit their budget.
Yep.
They have to be able to afford that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you put a combination of what their needs are and a budget that will be acceptable, then you're really helping that person out. Because
100%.
like you said, a lot of people really don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And the starting point that we tell people at Lincoln is with us.
Yeah.
We have a very reasonable cost product.
Yep.
We don't have a lot of different products.
Yep.
And the product is designed to serve them when that time comes with the loss of a loved one. So, I like to look at us as being beneficiary helpers. That's
Absolutely.
what we do.
That's a good way to put it. Anybody want to chime in on that? Because I think a lot of people oftentimes want to know, right, how do I determine what is the right amount of coverage for me in my particular situation? So are there certain things that they need to examine, certain questions they need to be asking, right, within their own family and their situation to help them say, this is the perfect amount to cover where I'm at in my life? How do they go about that process?
Well, I'm going to let the other panelists speak, but we're going to ask them different things.
Okay. What are some of those questions?
Well, number one, is this policy for you or for you and someone else? Okay. That's going to let me know if they're married, it's for my husband or myself.
Right.
Do you have kids?
Right.
Do you have grandkids?
Right.
Would you like for them to be covered? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we have a thing called child riders.
Okay.
For 17 and under.
Okay.
$2 for 5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, when you tell them the value, where can you get $5,000 of value for $2?
You can't.
Only Lincoln Heritage.
Yep.
Okay. And you can go even higher than that. If you want 10,000, it's $4.
Wow.
Okay, so these are the things that we help that customer understand. What about a beneficiary? Most of the people that I've talked to, when I call them, they've lost a loved one. Usually the beneficiary will know, did they leave anything for me? You're going to hear that a lot.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and design a policy that will cover the grandkids and leave something what? For you. So it all is designed for that person's needs and desire.
100%. I know, Ms. King, you were going to say something else on top of that, were you?
Yeah, that goes back to the needs analysis and the funeral cost estimator that we use.
Right.
Those are tools that for us to get information from our clients, because we can give them, as much insurance that we desire to give them, but we need to know what their need is, what their situation is, what do they desire to do. Are you just desiring just to be buried so that won't come from another policy?
Okay.
Are you desiring to leave money, have extra money left back?
Gotcha.
Because of income being missed and things of that nature.
But wouldn't naturally people want to do the highest one where they can leave money behind? Naturally, wouldn't they want to do that?
No.
Wow.
I would. Believe it or not.
Not naturally.
Wow. So they sometimes they got to be talked into that.
They do. They have to, they have to have an understanding of why. As your question stated, what's the importance of insurance?
Yeah.
Why is it there? A lot of individuals say, hey, I could just save the money.
Yeah.
What if a disaster happens?
Right.
Then you have to use that money.
100%.
Refrigerators break down. You got to go into that saving and you have to use that money.
Yep.
Cars break down. And right now we're paying a pretty penny for a lot of things. The economy is changing. Inflation is going up. So we have to come out of our pocket, for a great amount.
Yeah.
So where is it that we think we can save? I've had an instance where someone has, one of our agents stated that she had savings and her daughter ended up having cancer, and she had depleted her savings. So what if that was all that she had?
Right.
Saying that's what I'm saving for my, for my funeral, whatever.
Yeah.
It's depleted.
Yeah.
She's much older now.
Right.
Then that would have been her case. That wasn't her case, but that is some,
it happens
that's
more
society's
often
case.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, if we're just gonna be real, the only thing I really knew about life insurance is that at some point it could turn into cash. It has, like you said, it has bills, cash value.
Right.
That's the only reason I was interested in it at one time. I'll be honest. But so for the people out there that are just like me, thinking just like that, I just want to know how I build cash value in it. How does that process work, and how do you go about, withdrawing that cash? And I hate to say it like that, but how does that process work? How does that system work?
Me personally, I don't think that's a segment we ought to have in there, because we don't want people buying a policy thinking they can pull money out of it. Right. This isn't that kind of policy.
Well, clear them up on that. Give them help clear up that misdirection.
I get a lot of customers mainly want
Absolutely.
cash value.
Absolutely.
I want that policy that builds up cash value.
That's how they say it right off the top.
They're gonna get that money,
Listen, I ain't dying no time soon, but I want the one that do that. So I think even this is an opportunity, as you said, not necessarily to educate them on that because of that, but just show them like that's not exactly how that works.
You went right where I wanted you to go.
Okay.
And I think even me saying that would have been good, and you come back with what you said, because there's a lot of people think they can buy a policy today and make a loan tomorrow.
Absolutely. That's the only reason
they got it.
The policy Mr. Man had. But this policy isn't designed for that.
Right.
And not only that, Will, that's the reason why the conversation needs to start sooner in the household.
Absolutely.
Okay. First of all, the conversation kind of been missed on insurance. That's the reason why a lot of people don't understand it. That's the reason why we become educators instead of just citizens.
Yep.
And we educate people on the different types of insurances because there are platforms.
Yep.
And it's just fits your need, whatever fits your need.
Yep.
But here at Lincoln Heritage, we just do whole life. It's a straight whole life policy that'll take a person all the way to age 100. It'll never increase or decrease, and it builds up cash value within that policy.
Yeah.
And not only that, we sell it with a benefit.
Yeah.
And the planning portion of it. That is the basis of our policy. But like I said, it depends on where you at in your life and what you need.
And what you need at that point in your life.
At that point in time. And are you trying to do something different than that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And that's where we come in.
Absolutely.
We the experts at this.
Absolutely.
Right? And we wish everybody would listen sometime.
Man. And that was one of the questions I wrote when I was just hearing you guys talk. Is like, why aren't more people educated about this stuff? Is it because it's that hard to understand, or is it just a fear? Right? I think it's the latter.
Think about this. You know how many people that say, I don't want to talk about this?
Yeah.
When you say,
when we bring up uncomfortable things.
Dealing with death,
100%.
They don't want to talk about it.
100%.
Like older and younger people.
100%.
But as you can see, as of today, people are passing away with quickness.
Absolutely.
So there must be a conversation must be made and had within our family members for us to be able to survive this.
100%.
Because again, if we're looking towards the future, this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's happening so quick, man.
I promise you, instead of leaving a bill,
yeah.
How about leaving something other than that bill?
100%. Right. 100%. And I know, a lot of people don't know this. This is the redo of this original episode. Mm-hmm. And on the first one of you guys said something really powerful about how there's not a lot of people of those older generations in our households anymore that are willing to have those tough conversations. Yes. Like the process of how life insurance, you said, was done back in the 80s, 70s. How was that? Can you remind them how you said it was done back then?
Well, when I was a kid, and some of the other panelists probably as well.
Yeah.
We had insurance men called debit guys, and what they would do is go to house,
right?
And they would collect money. We would leave the money in the mailbox.
Yep,
it wasn't a lot, $2, $3,
right?
But we made sure that the family was covered, or 100%. The person was covered. They did not want that burden to go to anyone else.
Yep.
So the hardest thing for us to do when it comes to life insurance is it's hard to do in a lot of other things, and that's pay ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you pay yourself first and get in the habit of doing that, then you'll find that that's how you're going to build wealth.
Yep.
Okay, but at Lincoln, what we want to do is make sure that you're not going through a GoFundMe. Okay, you're not trying to do fish fries and stuff to make the bill pay. Funerals are expensive.
100%.
The average funeral is going to range between $8,000 and $12,000.
Man,
and you got about a week to come up with this kind of money.
Right.
Okay, and that's when the shock come in. So our job is to make that burden easier. You can make a one payment. Now, I'm gonna say this: I had a lady. We just did a radio show today.
Right.
Lady called me about a policy after I spoke with her. She told me, well, I got a policy through a company and it's $3,800 and it's supposed to cover my casket and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And she said, but what I heard about yours is that you all cover everything. I said, yep, we're going to cover the funeral, the caskets. We're going to cover the escort cars. We're going to cover the cemetery, all of that, all in one payment. And so her daughter was there and she said, well, you know what I can do? I can leave the $3,800 to my daughter and just let your policy take care of everything. I said, you're right. We're going to go to work for your daughter. She'll have money and we're going to go to work for her too.
That's amazing.
Wasn't that sweet?
That's amazing.
And that's what she bought.
That's amazing. I wish it was that simple for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it could be though, right?
It
could be, right?
It is.
It's just about education, man.
Yeah.
Once you learn it and understand it.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
And I think that's why this platform is so important, right? And I think why we had to bring it to fruition, because we need to meet people where they are and they can understand, like, this is how this works and you don't have to be afraid. Absolutely. And I think another thing that keeps people afraid is they think they're going to get denied. So can you tell people some of those things that may get them denied? And then you also mentioned before on the original take, some of the things that you guys make exceptions for. Even if they are in certain situations, you guys are still able to help them. Can you kind of hit on that for some of the people at home?
Okay.
So what disqualifies them, and then some of the things you guys accept in spite of.
Okay. So what would disqualify them is two questions. One of them have several different components to it, but however, is straight to the point. Mm-hmm. Is HIV and AIDS.
Okay.
If they're on hospice care, if they're currently in the hospital, they have to wait until they come out.
Right.
If they're bedridden and in a nursing home, in a nursing facility, then those individuals pretty much universal cannot be written.
Got you.
And still have a preferred rate. Now, there are companies that have those non-guaranteed policies and things of that nature, but those will get you disqualified. Whereas that we will cover them, and that doesn't mean that they have to be in perfect health to have day one coverage, final expense preferred rate. That doesn't mean that they have to be in perfect health. They could just, we run a prescription check is what we do.
Yeah.
A lot of individuals, they say, hey, I know I can't be covered. I just take too much medicine. There's so much wrong with me. Let me see. Yeah. I smile because I'm so excited about it, because 9 times out of 10, one, I know if they don't have those, non-qualifying issues at that particular point, I know I can get them covered.
100%.
So that's the platform that we have here. And then the other rate is that if they have a current high risk health issue or whatever on the high risk medications currently, then we still have what we call a standard modified policy. They have not lost any money, so there is no 2-year waiting period. Where is it that you're just paying it all to the company? If you pass in 2 years, your family get nothing whatsoever. They get zero. That's not our case. They're actually going to get a return of premium. They're going to get all their money back plus 10% the first year. Second year, they're going to get all their money back plus 20%. That's more than what banks are making. That's better than investment. So they're winning.
Absolutely.
So that's an excitement thing.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest takeaways, what you just said, where you said what disqualifies people is them being in those. Now, I understand HIV and AIDS. That's something you can't necessarily control, right? But being in hospice, being in the hospital for serious conditions, you know what that speaks to me on a personal level? It says that you knew that it was an important thing to have, but you almost waited until it was too late to try to make this a priority in your life.
And I waited too late.
Absolutely.
There
is no almost. You did.
Yeah, because when you're on hospice or you're currently in the hospital, that's pretty universal through all companies.
Right.
That's why they have the HIV and AIDS question separate from those others, because the HIV and AIDS, there are companies that will insure them. Nobody's really insuring the hospice in nursing homes and things of that nature.
Got you.
It's a high risk.
Good. Gotcha.
One of the things that is so incredible about Lincoln Heritage.
Yes, sir.
We don't even ask if a person has high blood pressure, as they call it, hypertension. We don't even ask that question.
That was what we talked about.
I've had so many people, man, you won't be able to come. I already been turned down. I said, why? I got high blood pressure.
Yeah.
What? Okay. What else you got? Man, I got diabetes. I said, we don't even ask if you got high blood pressure, hypertension. We don't ask if you have diabetes. In fact, I just finished a policy with the gentleman.
Yeah.
I went through everything.
Yeah.
He was excited. $156 a month premium. He says, now let me make sure now. After we recorded his application, he says, so if I pay this $156 and then after 2 years I got full coverage, right? I said, no, sir. I said, when we draft that payment tonight, you got full coverage.
Yeah.
He said, even with my high blood pressure and the diabetes? Yes, sir. You could hear him turning flips.
Man.
He started hollering and
is that not the case with every company? Not that we're trying to highlight them, but saying like that's not the case with everybody. Once you pay that premium at that moment, you're fully covered.
With diabetes and hypertension?
No.
Lincoln Heritage is the only company I know.
Wow.
In the world.
Is there any, before we wrap it up, just 2 more questions. Is there a certain reason why you guys are able to do that? So people can understand what makes you, like, we understand why you're so different, but how are you guys able to do that and other people can't?
Let me say it this way.
Okay.
And they can do it. That's why we're the #1 company in America.
That was one of the determining factors that makes you guys stand out.
Yes.
Along with the planning, along with all the other benefits,
amazing,
all the things that we do.
Amazing.
That comes with the policy at no additional cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake, do you want to say something?
Man, you just said it. That's the reason why we are the #1 finance company.
Period.
Because what we offer others can't.
Yeah. They can't compete.
They can't compete with it.
100%.
And once people understand that, and matter of fact, if you ask someone that does have these issues with, should I say, health issues,
right,
and they've been rejected so many times,
right,
like Ms. Howard said, man, they're agitated when you find out that they won cover
100%
with us,
change their life.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we get out of here, I got one more question. So for that person at home right now that has all this information now, they have no excuse, they have little to no barriers in their way. How can they go about, what's that first step they need to take in order to do business with you guys? Right, we all know you have own individual entities here, but at the same time, regardless, y'all all are family, y'all all are a team at the end of the day. How can they go about getting that day one coverage today, what's the first step they need to take? What do they need to do?
Make the phone call.
Okay.
I was about to say, pick up the phone.
And you got options here.
I was going to say, call the Higgins Agency 901-507-6873 or the C. Howard Agency or the Ron Man Group.
Yep.
We can take care of you.
Hold on. Man, I got to hear the phone number.
Go ahead, Mr. Howard.
501-940-LIFE. 501-940-LIFE.
He said
5433.
Awesome.
Yep, Mr. Man.
All right. And you can reach the Ron Man Group at 901-949-1148.
And even though the Higgins Agency, Ron Man Group, is based in Memphis, Tennessee, that can be anywhere, right?
That is correct.
And even though Mr. Howard is based out of Arkansas, that can be anywhere as well.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So you guys literally have no excuse, right? And today I think this was giving so much value because now you understand what life insurance is, why it's so valuable, how it works, what can qualify you, what can disqualify you. And it isn't much, right? So you really have no more excuses not to make that call or at least say, I didn't know, right? So before we get out of here, does anybody have any last words, anything they want to say, or we pretty much said it all?
I have something I want to say.
Okay.
Young adults, we need to start early.
Please.
We need to start early. All the elders, we need to start having those conversations because death doesn't stop.
Yes.
So let's continue having these conversations and let's save our families.
Yep.
We're not throwing anybody in the ditch.
Yep.
That's illegal.
That's right.
Yep.
Can't even bury you in the backyard for free.
Man.
And we're not throwing you in the trash can.
But we hear people say that. That's why we said that.
Seriously.
Oh, my family just threw me in the ditch. I said, man, you don't love your family, do you?
Man.
They're going to be in
They
jail.
love
'Cause
you.
I said, they're going to all be in jail. They won't be able
Man.
to attend the service.
Man.
Because that's a felony.
It ain't gonna be the
It's called an
beneficiary.
abuse of court.
I'm trying to be the beneficiary. I ain't throwing you away, Doc. I got you, Daddy. So. But no, seriously, I think this was a very important conversation, and I'm really looking forward to episode 2 because it's going to dive even deeper into some of these things and just add even more value to the people. But that wraps it up for episode 1 of Life Goes On, the podcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and until next time, y'all, we love y'all. Peace.
Thank you very much.
All right.